Yes. Right, ready? Press record, please. All me to pray. Yeah.
Just cut that out. Does my makeup look good? How about my beard? Look good as the beard, because my lipstick look good. How about my eyeliner?
This is being recorded.
Yeah, I know.
I'm really used to it. I'm just putting it out there. Okay, cool. Okay, guys, so welcome back to Testimony Tuesday. I have with me Kyle and Kay on there. KK? Yeah. Oh yeah, Kay. No, where's the okay? Kyle. Oh yeah, yeah. So if you're new here, welcome. So today, Kyle and Kayon are going to share with us the different challenges that they face being in a godly relationship and how God brought them together as well. So share a bit about like where you guys were at before you got together, like where your headspace was at, where your relationship with God was at, you know.
Well, before I met Kay, growing up, you know, you get to a point where you want a spouse in your life.
Yeah.
And then you're like, alright Lord, I'm growing up now. I want like someone so I can, you know, love and cherish and, you know, just to like live together. Like, you know, yeah. So, you know, I prayed and, you know, like when I prayed to God, I asked for, I wasn't specific. I was just like, Lord, just send me someone who's for me, because, you know, God knows best. God knows myself more than I know myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, done that. And then I think we was ministering with New Yee, and I remember saying that by the end of this year, I'm gonna get a wife. People looked at me like, okay, Kyle, yeah, okay, okay, Kyle. And this was in January time. Mm-hmm. So when it hit August, we praised God. How we met was in church. I was ministering, and the Holy Spirit said to Kay to pray for the group. And when the Holy Spirit said to pray for the group, she'd done that. And I felt led. I was like, let us pray for her.
I had seen Kyle, yes, at the church event that he had. It was like a weekend event. And then, we didn't notice each other, really. It was just like, hi, and then he was rushing past. And then, I think, because obviously one of my friends is in the group that he ministers in, I always went with her to support, so I did always see him around and stuff, but we didn't really have a lot of conversation, just hi and bye and so forth. And then I had added him on Facebook, and we were just talking for a while, but then we was talking back and forth consistently every day, non-stop, to the point that we was wasting each other through Facebook, and Facebook only gives you like a minute, so it was just annoying. So then I was just like, you know what, this is annoying. She was frustrated, I was frustrated. So I was like, you know what, just take my number. So then she took my number, and then she messaged me on WhatsApp. And then when she messaged me on WhatsApp, she was like, oh hi, it's Kanon. I was like, oh hi, and then, you know, just carried on from there. Yeah. And then one day we just went out to just hang out. Yeah, and then I realised that, like, obviously God had showed me that I was the one before he knew that I was the one. And I was just like to God, listen, Lord, like, just please make sure this is the right one, because obviously I've had bad experiences in the past of counterfeits and stuff like that. So I was like, God, I don't want to make that mistake again. So if he's just my friend, let it be clear, take any feelings. And around those times I was catching feelings as well. And God had given me a vision.
I'm sorry people. Sorry.
I had a vision, and I saw me and him at the altar. And I was like, whoa, because I was in the middle of worship, like I wasn't even thinking about how.
Yeah, because you went to that Ruach conference.
I went to a conference, and I was not even thinking about him. And then I had a dream as well that we was together, and I was just like, okay, God.
I was supposed to go to that part. You were
supposed to go to that event,
but I was working.
Yeah, and then I and then I told him how I felt, because one thing I did do from the very beginning, I said to him, like, even before any feelings was established, I just said to him, look, are you like pursuing anyone? Are you talking to anyone? Because of how often he was speaking, I didn't want to entertain anything, knowing that he may have been interested in someone. I really was very sensitive to things that I would entertain, or the things that I would be a part of.
Yeah.
So I asked Carl what he was like, what his situation was, and he was like, no, he's not talking to anyone, he didn't entertain anything, and vice versa. And I was like, okay, cool, good. He said, you know, you showed me something, so that confirmed that stage of it anyway. Obviously, after telling Carl how I felt, he was like, yeah.
So after she told me how she felt, I was like, I paused for a hot second, thought about it, and I was like, I like you too.
And the thing is, if you see his response here, it made me like, oh my gosh, like, what did I say? I was like, oh my gosh, what did I say that?
Yeah, so as I was doing that pause and thinking about it, she's like,
oh yeah,
she was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said nothing. Oh my gosh. I was like, hold on. I think I like you too.
Oh my days.
And then from there, we started to, the relationship got from friends to like just a little bit more than friends.
So we fasted for a week.
Yeah.
And like, I wasn't expecting God to show up that quick. Like, it's not that I didn't think he wasn't gonna show up, but I just didn't think that the way he was gonna, well, he just blew our minds.
Yeah.
Within the first 2 days, we had a dream, the same dream, and long story short, the dream was showing us like our future purpose, and it's like we was in each other's dreams. So he was seeing it from his viewpoint, and I was seeing it from my viewpoint, and the dream showed us like when I was telling Carl about it, I said, oh, I had a dream about you, and he said, oh my days, I had a dream about you too. And then we spoke on the phone, and he told us, it was like really excited, because I was like, are you serious right now? Because you're telling me the same thing.
I was like, wow. My mind was blown. I was like, no way, I had the same dream too.
Yeah. Day after day, God was just showing us so many different things. And then we had verbal confirmations, like other people. Rihanna was one of those people who just picked up something, and no one had really known, like, or known what was happening at that point, that deep. Because you had like seen that there was a spark, but we was still like, nah. Yeah, so then after the week, we was like, okay, alright, God, you've given us a green light.
So tell us a bit about, you know, when, okay, because I know the story. So you know when you were talking about before how God hid your beauty from Kyle. Tell us a bit about that whole experience.
So before I had even met Kyle, I remember like I went through this season where I was like, God, like, why hasn't no one approached me? Like after I got saved, I was thinking, yeah, my husband's supposed to just come along, like, and I just thought, oh, is it me? Is it like because I'm not attractive, or like I just started to question myself, and then God told me that He was hiding my beauty. Wow.
Sorry.
So so God told me how He was gonna hide my beauty from the one that He had for me, until the one came along and He would expose that. So when me and Carl was friends, we wasn't really attracted to each other, to be honest. We was just like, oh, cool person, whatever. And over time, Carl could tell you that part.
So I fell in love with her heart first. If God didn't hide her beauty from me, it would probably be more lust than love. And that's probably why God did that, because to show us it's not about the looks, it's not about, you know, the body or whatever. It's about the heart, the character, and her soul. And once I fell in love with her heart, everything else began to unravel itself. So that's what happened. Like one day I was like, wow.
Oh, that's so cute.
I'm still like that every day. Like,
Oh my god. Who's your person? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Sometimes she does ask me that, do you find me attractive? I'm like, of course I do. I'm fire.
Because it's not that he doesn't make me feel attractive, but obviously there was a season that I was really struggling with my self-confidence, so I did ask a lot. But one thing I will say, you have to be confident in the Lord, because no matter who God places in your life or whatever reassurance other people give you, it's never ever going to be enough if you don't truly believe it for yourself. So yeah.
Can I just say, I love how like she's so straightforward. Like she doesn't like, if she likes someone, she'll tell you. Like,
I mean, what's the point of
Yeah.
fluffing around? You know, just be direct about it.
What I love is that both of you were very, you definitely sought the Lord before you ran ahead of yourselves. Like it was definitely, okay, let me go to the Lord first. Let me just check with God if that's okay. Like, and I think that's so important in relationships, period. So yeah, I love that. So what's like some of the highlights first of all to your struggles? Highlights of your relationship?
The highlights is, like our company with each other. Like when we do spend time with each other, we make it like the best. Like just go cinema, go to the park, go to the river, go to Creams, and even like busting jokes.
Yeah.
Like busting jokes about anything that we see or what happened at work or on the road or within social media, and just
I think one of the highlights for me is like the most beautiful thing is the friendship that we had first.
Yes.
And it's like I could just literally be myself with Carl. Like I don't have to.
That's true.
Try and be anything else.
Yeah.
And even if I try to, like there'll be times when I'm upset about something and I would try to like just brush it off, and he would dig and dig and dig and dig because he knows me so well. He knows that you're not okay, and vice versa as well. Like same with Carl. Like if he's a bit off, I know something's going on, and we could just be very transparent and honest with each other. I like the fact that we're just very spontaneous and adventurous. Like we don't mind trying new things and exploring new places and stuff.
New restaurants.
Yeah.
New places,
And we like to be very very open about how we're feeling. So even like obviously, being in a Christian marriage, sorry. to come. But in a godly relationship, obviously the aim is to, it's marriage, isn't it? That's the aim.
That's right.
To get to marriage, ministry, stuff like ministry. That's right. So obviously that comes with resistance and temptation, waiting until marriage, have sex and things like that. So obviously we always talk about how we feel. Yeah. And we're just very honest if there's certain things that may make us feel a bit uncomfortable or make us feel tempted. No, I thought she was laughing, that's why. That's how it is, because if you pretend that you're not human, if you pretend that you don't have flesh and you try to play things off, that's more likely when you'll slip up. So we're just very real with each other about that, and we just say, you know what, let's just move release it over there or something like.
Do you think it's been really difficult, like refraining from any sort of sexual?
Yeah, it is difficult.
It can be difficult.
Yeah, but I feel like because it's not an idol, and because God is like the foundation, and even if our focus has gone off, we always put him back there. And I feel like yes, it is hard because we're human,
Mm.
and you know that we as human beings, it's natural to our nature to want to be sexually active and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
because we love each other. as
Yeah,
well, so
exactly. So you
that's
want to
why-
show that person you
yeah,
love affection in a different way.
Mm.
However, we understand that there's an end goal.
That's right.
We understand that, you know, when you watch movies, you see people who make up by doing that.
Mm.
That we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, we talk. We have to
We
talk.
have to talk
That's
about
not going to resolve the issue.
That's
and
it.
I feel like we
And-
learned so much from that.
And yes, we have learned so much from that. When we resolve the conflict, we start to know each other more.
Yeah.
Because of the dislikes and the
Yeah.
likes.
Yeah.
And we try not to do it again.
Yeah.
Like if I don't like something, I tell her she hard. I'll do the same.
Yeah.
So, and this is why probably this is another reason why divorce is so high.
Yeah.
And relationships all over the place because they don't resolve the conflicts
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah.
They resolve it with sex, and when the sex is boring, what are you gonna do? Go to
Yeah.
the next person.
That's true.
And I think, like, what you have to remember is that God designed sex for married couples, and a lot of people are just like, oh, but why is it that? Why is it so deep and stuff like that? And I think when we talk about this stuff more, it gives us more understanding, and there's a reason behind it, because there's real stuff like soul ties. There's real things like, you know, okay, you get connected to this person, and then things that work out, and you're left with that.
Yeah.
And it's not, God obviously, he wipes our sins away and he gives us a new life and stuff, but it's just best not to put yourself in those type of positions because it doesn't resolve everything. It doesn't make you any closer. I think that I always talk about the triangle when I talk about a relationship. Like, the aim is for, so God's at the top of the triangle, me and him are at the bottom, and the closer we get to God, the closer we become with each
Together.
other. And the way I see it is like, your body, my body is valuable, so
We have to honor
we have to honour it.
each other.
Yeah, and I know he has intentions for us to get married. So, I mean, what are we rushing for?
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
Don't need to rush.
That's just a bonus. That's like a gift, because then I can say yes, we've earned rights to each other. If that makes sense, like that. So, yeah.
That's cool. So, what's like a word of encouragement that you have for maybe like a guy who is either wants to pursue someone or is currently pursuing someone?
Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness and all these things.
You sound like a pastor right there. But it's true though.
Yes, you have to seek God first. Like, yes, God knows your desires of your heart, and he wants to give you the desires of your heart. But if the desires doesn't line up with his desires, there's a little like friction there. So I would say for the guys, ask God that your desires and God's desires line up with each other. Like, I would say my prayer is that, Lord, make my desires your desires, because God knows what's best for you. God knows you more than you know yourself. He knows what you're gonna say, what you're gonna do, where you're gonna go before you even go there. Before I met Kate, I was fasting, and one of my prayers every time I prayed was, "Oh Lord, bless me with a spouse." And then I came to realize, I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me not pray like that. Let me pray a different way. As I pray a different way, next thing you know, in the click of a flash, you came. So don't make that be an idol in your mind. Just continue to follow God, and it may be slow in your timing. Don't go by other people's timing. Oh, you're supposed to get married at this time and this age, you're supposed to have a good career at this age. No, go by what God's said to do, because at the end, you will find fulfillment.
And yeah, for the ladies, I'll just say, stay busy. When you look at the story of Ruth and Boaz, she was in the field working. She wasn't looking for no man. He found her.
That's
And
right.
the word says, he who finds a wife findeth a good thing.
That's
Does
right.
it say he who finds a babe does he find a wife. So when he finds you, you already have the qualities of a wife. So the time of singleness is so beautiful, so crucial. Work on yourself, travel, do the things that you love, find out like, you know, more about yourself, find out what your purpose is, because you don't you know, I think as women as well, sometimes we can easily, you know, find validation in a man. You know, we want, we feel like having a man or a spouse, it is what makes us be fulfilled or whatever, do you know what I mean? So I think it's about finding your purpose, being busy, you know, continue working for the Lord and doing whatever he positions you to do, being obedient, carry yourself like a lady, look after yourself, present yourself well, not doing it because you want to be found, but doing it because you're valuable, like understanding your worth, your beauty, you know, beauty, yes, is visible on the outside, but on the inner man, it's more, you know what I mean, important. And also, I mean, don't make it idle in your prayer, but do pray for what you desire, and as what Kyle was saying, just making sure it's in line with what God wants. So, I mean, some people, I think it's important for myself, like I remember praying and saying to God, you know what, God, is it your will for me to be married? Like, that's something you have to be very honest with God about, because sometimes we go through life and we're like expecting things to be our way, and we haven't actually consulted God and asked him, like, God, what is it you want me to do? So I think you need to, you know, sit before God and ask him, like, is it your will for me to be married? And if not, then help me to just be content in you. And I think when you can honestly say that you're content in God, even if he told you that he wasn't going to get married, you would be ready for marriage, because he can trust that you're not going to make that spouse an idol, because that can happen. Marriage was designed by God, so if we have the desire to be married, because some people don't, but if we have the desire to be married, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So don't feel like because you have the desire and it hasn't happened yet that it won't happen for you. It will happen just in God's time. And just make sure that your mind is decluttered so that you can really hear from God.
That's good. Well, thanks for coming, guys. I really hope that video encouraged you guys. One of the main things I'll take away of that I loved about hearing you guys' testimony is that you guys definitely put the Lord first in everything. And I think even for people that are single, there are people that will come, like for girls that will try and pursue you, or guys who see girls that you like. But I think it's important for us who are single to make sure we still go to the Lord, even if that guy looks like, you know, he's great and he sings this song and it sounds amazing. He might not be for you. And so it's important that we seek God and just follow his leading, follow the leading of the Holy Spirit and everything, so that we don't get caught up in situations that are, you know, and it's just like more work to get out of it, you know. So yeah, thanks for coming and sharing your testimony. You'll probably see a ring on Kale's finger soon. Is it that one? Yeah.
Stay tuned, guys.
Yes.
I'm trying. I'm good.
I know the date, but she doesn't. So
yeah. Imagine.
Wow.
I don't know. I've never been surprised before, so this is it's gonna be very interesting.
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Okay, guys. Hey guys, so we'll see you next month with another testimony. But make sure you turn your post notifications on for other videos, and also subscribe, like, and comment. So see you guys later. Bye. Yeah.
Like, me and those two, Tina.